What's up, guys? Cage here, and we have to do an update on the entire situation revolving around the current state of the Stop Killing Games movement, as well as Pirate Software, and really just his disastrous fall from grace at this point, because he has no idea how to land gracefully in this situation. Dude had a bad take and continued to essentially make himself out to be a massive victim and do all these mental gymnastics. And honestly, it's super disappointing because I actually liked Thor from Pirate Software. I would watch him here and there, not like super continuously. He'd even have a live stream of just his ferrets on Twitch that I thought was, entertaining. He kind of seemed like, he kind of seemed like how do you say, like a person that you watch, you just want to chill the fuck out. And he seemed pretty down to earth. And to have a good grasp on not just the developer's situation when it comes to games, but also the gamer's perspective as well. Unfortunately, dude completely unraveled, and we have to talk about it in an honest and genuine way. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. And the first thing I have to state, because I put out a short like a few days ago and it kind of got some traction, and something in the comment section that kept popping up was basically, hey, Pirate Software and this person are essentially the same person. No, do not drag me down with Pirate Software right now, all right? We're not the same, all right? He's a white dude that has, straight to slightly wavy hair. I am a half Puerto Rican woman who has curly to slightly wavy hair. There's a there's a clear difference here. Don't drag me down with Pirate Software after what he decided to do of his own volition, man. Don't do this to me. Not right now. Of all things, not right now. But with Pirate Software's side of things, he's gotten a lot of pushback given his take and just how he's handled the entire situation. And he has been talking on Twitter about how he's right, even though he can't communicate why he feels the way he feels. He's so strong in this disdain for the Stop Killing Games movement, but he can't articulate himself in any meaningful way. I talked about this on my live stream, put up a little short about it. He is not communicating well, and I've watched Pirate Software long enough to know that if he actually cares about something, if it's important, he's very good at articulating himself. The fact that he cannot articulate himself in any meaningful way has made everybody that has known him and even people that don't know him completely reject his thought process, and it's really all on him. His lack of ability to communicate a proper point that makes any real relevant sense other than government bad and indie developers in trouble. Like, there's no depth to the conversation that he's presented. And I am a libertarian in my own right. I definitely take issue with government overreach in any industry. And I can acknowledge that it is a little scary to be like, hey, government, we need assistance in this situation. But we have to acknowledge nothing is being done to preserve, protect, and outright just continue the legacy of games and people's purchases here. We can't, like, nothing's happening. It's just getting worse. And that's the main issue. So I don't know what the answer is, but I know that this isn't the Stop Killing Games movement isn't a bad thing by any means. But Pirate Software goes on to say, I'm no longer working at off-brand games. People were attacking all the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. Learned a lot there, accomplished a lot. Hope they succeed regardless. Love those dudes and loved working with them. Hope they keep cooking. And look, man, unfortunately, this is a situation where a lot of people, unfortunately, end up suffering because of Pirate Software's own ignorance, his own inability to communicate, his own, like, him just rejecting any pushback on his statement has unfortunately led to this. And I think it's sad that other people have to suffer for his, basically his own actions, but that's just something that we all know is going to happen here. Gamers don't really have much voice in the space to voice their displeasure with the industry or with game developers or even with streamers or whatever have you, right? Where there's very limited access for us to speak up. So therefore, people will take action in any which way they can, and review bombing games is something that people listen to, as Pirate Software has clearly demonstrated here. And he goes on to say, for those trying to say this is now somehow a lie, the abuse was across socials, people on Discord, Twitter, Reddit, and some reviews on Steam. Indie games are fragile things, and attacks like this hit hard. Overall sentiment was to bash the game and the developers working on them to try and get back at me. Not worth bringing them down, for my opinion. Also, stop it. Get some help. All right, guys, we're going to visit the Off-Brand Games Steam page. So they have 3 games overall, and we're going to check out those games right now. So first game, which is a demo, Aethermancer demo, very positive in recent reviews, and all reviews is overwhelmingly positive. So, okay, I'm not really seeing anything here that indicates a review bombing has taken place. Next game, we have Bonnie Bear Saves Frog Time, which there's no user review as of yet, and the release date is to be announced, so there isn't even the ability to review bomb this game thus far. And then the final game, which is called Rivals of Aether 2, which is mostly positive. Recent reviews mostly positive, and all reviews mostly positive. And once again, I'm not seeing the review bombing taking place here. So what the fuck is Pirate Software even talking about? Like, is he making, like, are you delusional, bro? Do you need some help? Like, he's telling people to, I don't know, like, I don't get this at all. Like, I'm not seeing any of what he's claiming here, so this kind of just sounds like a fucking lie. What a surprise. But for Thor to be here, also, stop it, get some help, like, you're making shit up now. Like, maybe you should stop and get some help, because this attempt to once again self-victimize and try to bring other people into the situation, I'm sure maybe one person may have review bombed it, right? You know, you're always going to have the outliers of a situation, but there is no actual review bombing taking place here. This is a lie. From everything that I've seen, just doing some basic research, clearly there is no review bombing of these games. Now, whether he actually truly left or not, I can't really speak to that. As of right now, it seems like maybe it would make sense for Off-Brand Games to kind of just distance themselves from him for the sake of not, avoiding this situation altogether, which is fair to say. But if so, that just goes to show that Thor is once again making himself out to be the victim. And a very interesting take I wanted to discuss as a reply to Pirate Software from Arthur here, who he himself has been very strong in opposing, politics or nonsense like no activism in gaming. Like, that's something he's very sternly been in support of. Like, and he's faced a lot of criticism and backlash for it over time, and he's become a little bit popular in his own right because of his strong stance on that. And he goes on to say, "Excellent work, man. You fed the trolls for the next 6 months by showing them that an indie developer can be seriously harmed by review bombing. People will get what they want. You could have ended this by showing some humility or humor, but you chose weakness. You're a leader of a community. You wanted to lead the indies, enjoy the recognition, and teach them how to succeed. That also comes with responsibility, and you have to show some backbone when it's needed. I've been dealing with this shit for a year to show developers to stop acting like pussies, contribute their point of view for a healthy debate, and stop making everything shittier only to cater to narcissists. You go on and crash over an opinion that isn't harmful or even politically divisive. You are, in fact, most responsible for everyone getting what they want. Why on earth are you self-flagellating over that? I hope you learn from this and set a better example next time." And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he has reached any state of humility whatsoever in the situation, unfortunately. So yeah, that's the sad state of Pirate Software on that front. But now we have Accursed Farms here, and the update overall on Stop Killing Games. He says, the site says we've cleared 1 million signatures. I hate being like this, but there's a chance a significant number of them aren't real. That means we have to keep signing to overdrive mode, to make up for them. I'll have a video out on this later today, and essentially what he's saying is, yeah, this could be a lot of fake signatures. This is a European initiative. So first and foremost, you have to actually live in Europe to be able to sign this petition and to support this petition. So I'm sure that unfortunately, likely a lot of people who aren't even European probably went ahead and tried to sign this, which, you know, really sucks because automatically they'll be disqualified. And people are thinking that at this point, it has 1 million valid signatures, which, I mean, it could be the case, but likely not, unfortunately. I mean, I understand people are like gung-ho to support this, and that's completely fine if you so believe in the movement, but you also can't pretend to be a European citizen if you're not. So that's the deal with that. And then Accursed Farms also goes on to say, I was given some stats about previous EU initiatives that passed and how many signatures were discarded. It looks like the low end is about 100,000 and the high end was about 250,000. I suspect we'll be close to the high end, so every legit signature helps. So honestly, at this point, guys, if you genuinely believe in the movement of Stop Killing Games, then I really, go sign it if you're a European citizen. If you're not a European citizen, don't sign it. Instead, well, send a link to your friends or peers that happen to be in Europe. Tell them to read about this initiative. And if they believe strongly in it, hey, go sign it. And if they don't, that's completely fine. You don't have to sign it. Just don't be a pirate software in this situation and oppose it so sternly with no real explanation as to why. Just move on with your life sort of deal. But at this point, it's super bright, but we have reached 1,147,000 signatures, which is great. I do hope that they really get all the actual legitimate signatures that they need just to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm generally wary of government intervention in gaming. That's something I can agree upon with pirate software. I want to keep government out of it as much as possible, but sometimes, unfortunately, some things, due to greedy ass disgusting companies that don't give a fuck about the consumer and consumers' rights, unfortunately, we need a hand in really just the preservation of gaming. We need a hand in protecting consumers' goods purchased, and I don't know what else to do that makes sense at this particular point. I don't have the answers. I'm not a genius. You might think I am with the glasses on, but I'm really not a genius. I don't know what the true answers are. But hey, man, maybe this could help. At least it's something. We want to feel like we're doing something after all, right? And then Pirate Software he has to come into it again. He can't help himself, unfortunately. But he says the most interesting narrative is that my videos somehow killed the initiative. This graph shows that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had an impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did, though. Best of luck with your next steps. And then he goes on to say, for those who don't understand why I put out the videos in the first place, you might want to give this a read. And it's crazy, his the fact that he keeps throwing himself into the conversation. The thing is, if you would have just shut the fuck up, like, likely this initiative wouldn't have went nearly as viral as it did. Really, he made himself out to be the villain here, and he continues to do so, unfortunately. Honestly, I will say movements really do help the most when there's something like you have a heel involved, right? And Thor has made himself the heel, and a lot of people have seen, what he has said about the initiative and how it came off very disingenuous. And yeah, it was like a reaction to him kind of, sticking his foot in it. So this is weird. It's like, are you indirectly trying to take credit for this whole initiative succeeding, because I mean, you could do that, but you look even more of an asshole in the process of doing that. So I don't know, man. It's sad that homie has to go out like this. I totally think of him in a different light now because of this situation. And like I said, I actually genuinely enjoyed watching Pirate Software. I think he had some really great takes that were well explained. And that's the difference between this Stop Killing Games movement, his thoughts versus, others. But yeah, his insane take had other people like, what the fuck? And it had to become the talk of the town. And because of how irrational he was being, I think it did obviously lead to this initiative going viral. So if he wants to take indirect credit for that, hey, whatever, man. I mean, whatever floats your boat. You're only making yourself out to be the villain. So I don't know. This is sad. I never thought that he, of all people, would do this. I know a lot of comments on, one of my shorts was saying, how did you not see this coming? How did you not see this coming? I mean, look, man, I try to assume the best in people when they have proven such in the past. This is a very strong deviation from a lot of things that he has said in the past as well. He usually is quite understanding and can articulate, a different side that he may not necessarily be a part of. And here he just completely fell apart at the seams. And I'm sad to see it, man. But yeah, Stop Killing Games is doing very well for itself. Thanks Thor, I guess. If you really need that credit so bad, thanks Pirate Software, whatever the fuck floats your boat at this point. But it's very interesting to see we're living in interesting times. And it's good to see people challenging what has become the norm. We've seen so many disgraceful acts in the industry become, sadly, industry norms. And I want to see it challenged. I think a lot of us want to see what has become acceptable, as sad as it is to say, challenged, because a lot of these companies have pretty much thought they can get away with whatever the fuck they think they can. We've gone so far in such a short period of time. Physical media is in fact dying, and it's sad to see, but the industry itself is killing it. And the industry itself is saying there's no safeguard for anything that you own. And that's a scary thought. Even when single player games are literally connected to an online database, it's like, what's like, we're so lost in the sauce, and something has to change. Something has to give. And even me, someone that is a libertarian, I could acknowledge that something does have to give. And I'm just interested to see what happens. I know there's a lot of people that oppose government intervention in this situation, and I get it. I really do, trust me. But you also have to acknowledge the other side of the situation. There is no safeguards at all. These companies have walked all over us for far too long, and I think so many people are so fucking sick and tired of seeing it already, and we have to acknowledge that reality as well. And there's some people that still agree with Sword. It's like, how could you pretend that if you've watched Thor, if you've watched Pirate Software for any period of time, how could you sit there and say that he has explained himself in an acceptable manner like he has in the past? I don't fucking get it. I mean, you can agree with him if you want to for even the most undistinguishable, unexplainable reasons, because that's essentially his entire, just everything that he has thrown. He's just thrown shit at the wall and hoped it'd stick. And that's pretty much his argument. And you can agree with that if you want to, but I know that Thor is more capable of articulating himself than how he has in this situation. He's taken a massive L, and he refuses to humble himself. He refuses to admit any wrongdoing. He refuses to acknowledge his part in making himself out to be a villain. But yeah, guys, that's really all I got to say about that. It's sad to see. I was hoping better from him. But once again, as you can see, I clearly do not look like Pirate Software. Stop trying to say I do. That sounds insane. All right. Period. He's dragging himself down. All right. Don't take me down with him too now. Okay. But guys, I really appreciate you all sticking around and checking out the video. If you can, like this video, share this video out. It really does help if you do share it out. And subscribe to the channel Follow me over on Twitter at Mario Kart if you'd like to continue the conversation. Consider becoming a channel member, gets you instant access to the Discord, gets you dope ass emotes for the live streams, and the live streams are absolutely insane, so definitely tune in for that. And you guys, let me know how you feel about, the format, how things have changed a little bit. There's still more changes that are to come, don't get me wrong, but we're sort of just trying out new stuff. Hopefully everything sounds good, everything looks good, and hope you enjoyed the content here today. And yeah, guys, with all being said, I'm out. Peace.